Hey y'all, what's up? We're reading The Neuromancer today. It's by William Gibson and it's part of a series. I have the other books here, but we're only going to dive into this one because it actually inspired The Matrix quite a lot, and today we're going to review the book and the Matrix series. So there's not actually a film about the Neuromancer. I believe there was talks of one, but it's not been out. And so we're really missing some amazing visuals to like the actual book series. Yet we'll get to kind of see how the Matrix drew their inspiration and so on. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me and hope y'all are doing well. And yeah, today is going to be possibly a few hours. We'll try to get through as quickly as possible, yet I did want to break it down scene by scene and, you know, the top most important characters. So without further ado, here's the presentation, and you're quite familiar with these characters because they've been epitomized in the Matrix series, but in the book, they're the source characters, the protagonists that have been cloned and copied several times in other series thereafter. And I have the chat behind me if you want to drop me a message. Perhaps I got something wrong or I missed something, let me know. It's my first time reading this and I only read it for like a month. So I was only able to really make, you know, highlighting notes. I put chapter markers. Yet even still, I feel like I have to reread it 5 times before I'm like, I actually grasp the whole like story. So bear with me, but this is kind of my interpretation as a beginner. However, what was my first impression? I was actually really shocked by how difficult it is to read because these are words that are out of my vocabulary, and yeah, I felt like I struggled a lot, even compared to Lord of the Rings. It felt like equal amount of reading process. Even though they're completely different. But I would say that my writing style is so much more like the Neuromancer, obviously, because it's more modern. It's from the 1980, I believe 1984 specifically. I have it in my notes. I'll confirm. But because of that, I feel like maybe a lot of us modern writers probably have a lot of correlation or have been indirectly inspired by the type of writing. It's kind of like flow of consciousness writing. So yeah, it's kind of inspiring for me, and we're gonna see what I'm pulling from. So hopefully like you see my process and you can do it too. At the end of the day, this is why I brought this to the attention, is because for a long time, I was so, what do you call it? I feel like, okay, The Matrix was the most amazing film, and I felt like there was nothing that I could ever do to reach that level of amazingness. Like, it was just so perfect that there was nothing that anyone could do to ever top it, kind of thing. Yeah, after reading this book, you're gonna see, oh, and sorry, my chat is it's now popping off, so thank you. You're gonna see how basically, okay, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that now The Matrix feels like a knockoff. Yeah, you heard that right. The Matrix series now feels like a knockoff after reading this book. So if you held The Matrix to a high standard or the pedestal of filmmaking, well, now you're gonna realize how even that was a knockoff, and this is the real cinema right here in this book, and never got a movie. But you see that now you don't have to feel like, oh my god, The Matrix was the best movies ever and there's nothing better than that. Well, no, because it's already a clone. That's not even source. Like, The Matrix is already a clone. So now that you know that The Matrix is a clone, well, now you feel that sigh of relief, like, oh my god, okay, well, I can just make another clone too. Or, you know, and with every clone, there's these alterations that different movie directors or writers influence, but the source material is kind of kept intact. Okay, Well, thanks so much again for bearing with that introduction. You guys are so familiar with the Matrix. I believe all of you will have seen it. Although, fair enough, I did run into somebody who hadn't seen it. They were a younger generation, so I don't know. I feel like maybe it's a 90s kids thing where you definitely saw the Matrix, so I don't know what like the status quo is now of like how famous it is, but I don't know, back then it's like the epitome of like a best movie of all time. So before we get into this, before I recommend you guys to get this book, and somebody says I didn't hold the Matrix to that high of a standard. Is that the whole comment? Let me just pop it up on my phone so I can read it better. But while I'm doing that, before you guys go out and buy this book, because I don't want to talk about this or promote this book without a disclaimer, so we're going to go to the next slide, is that this book is rated R, and yeah, so if you're 17 or 18 and upward, fine. But wait until you're that age to read this book. And I would even say, I mean, I feel like a lot of us did see The Matrix quite young, so whoops, what's done is done. And those are the era of like VHS tape and whatnot. But even now, I would say like still The Matrix does have really adult themes in it and graphic imagery, so yeah, you get the point. But yeah, this is still like very well done. It's not like Game of Thrones level where it's like persistent. No, it's really just like one chapter and it's over kind of deal. But yeah. Okay, so Molly and Case are the protagonists. They're love interests, just like Neo and Trinity. Now, forgive me because I have been, for ages, the last week or so, been working with Midjourney and creating these images. However, it kind of like flip-flopped between hair colors, especially for Case, whenever I put brown hair. So sometimes he looks more blonde, other times he looks like he has darker hair. I believe like in the book he's meant to have dark hair, thus inspiring Neo's dark hair. But some images do have him a bit blonder, so here we are. Okay, I'm popping up the comment now. If my phone wants to work, that's interesting. Okay, next slide while we wait. So Neuromancer and the Matrix, obviously what we're going to see here is a direct carbon copy on very like main themes here that we all know and love the Matrix for. So for one, the book is littered with the word the Matrix. So that, I mean, you can't escape that. Like, again, this book was written in 1984. The first Matrix movie was 1999. And The Matrix wasn't a book first. The Matrix was a screenplay. So even the Wachowskis do admit that the Neuromancer was the source inspiration. So, it's funny how like they just went ahead and made it the title, but obviously super smart because it's so memorable. Okay, there we go. I didn't hold, so Foley says, hi. You didn't hold Matrix to that high of a standard. Since when do books have ratings? Well, I just wanted to let you know because I don't know if you guys saw Wicked recently, but there was a whole scandal where like a lot of people were going out to see the Wicked movie, and then when they bought Wicked the book, they're like, wait, hold on, there's like rated R scenes in this. So I was like, you know what, I better put out a disclaimer because if you buy this book, you're gonna have the same reaction. You're gonna be like, whoa, okay, wait. But it goes by really fast, so there you go. Okay, so now that I have your comments up, we can move on. I will read them as I see them, but yeah, thanks again for joining me. So, heroes were, again, you know, direct carbon copy from Case and Molly to Trinity and Neo, like everything from the hair colors, the way they dress, and I'd say, like, they're not as cool as the book characters. Like, the book characters are much more awesome. They're funnier, they're much more chill. and they have stronger powers or abilities. So, well, not okay, to a certain degree. But yeah. So I feel like the Matrix kind of washed down these characters and gave us a kind of subpar performance. Especially Trinity, I feel like it could have used a lot more fierceness to her character. She kind of seemed like in ghost mode, like not really there half the time. Molly, on the other hand, is like such extroverted, just energetic character, so that's why I felt like they didn't do it really well. So AI, obviously, that's one of the main themes that they would have taken from the book series, because in the Neuromancer, it's giving away one of the AIs. Neuromancer is an AI, however, it has its counterpart 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬, and so this is the equivalent of the Oracle and the Architect that later the Matrix pulled. So they got the same idea of like one's more, they compare it to the brain, where like one's more left brain, one's more right brain, one's more analytical, one's more creative. And that's what the Oracle's meant to represent, the creative one, and the Architect is like the serious one. And the same thing here, the 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 is the creative one, and this one's like the Architect. So the Neuromancer has hackers, but they're called cowboys, and that's an interesting term. I like it. And then jacking in versus plugging in is also a major difference. That basically like plugging in and jacking in are the same thing. However, I don't believe like the way the Matrix does it is very particular. I think jacking in, I don't know, because there's not really a visual for us. Like there's obviously, again, there's no Neuromancer movie, so I don't really know how they jacked in. And again, the terms are really difficult for me. So I'd love to see, like, eventually, if they ever make a movie, how they actually jack in. But I think it's something to do with some sort of input. I don't know exactly how. SenseNet is Neuromancer's, like, Neuralink corporation, per se. And there's not a direct equivalent in the Matrix, but you could say, like, Machine City is when, like, AI just overtakes. So kind of similar, not really. Cyberdeck and SimStim are the ways they jack in. So, okay, Cyberdeck and SimStim, you see them in the Matrix in this GIF here, where Tank's dialing in. It's kind of like the same thing, basically. Just different names for it. And again, Trodes and the neural jack. ROM construct is an interesting thing, and residual self-image. It's basically like your cloud version of yourself. Like if your consciousness was uploaded to the internet, it would exist under a ROM construct, and you could speak to it. Kind of like in Futurama, they do that. In the Matrix, it's kind of like when Neo gets self-obliterated, and there's still a residual image, or when that happens to Agent Smith. And then Sentinels and ICE are quite similar. So ICE, when I was reading Neuromancer, I was like, what? They kept using ICE every, like, few sentences. I was like, it took me a long time to understand. But ICE is intrusion countermeasure electronics. And I don't know if they're actually, like, AI people, or if they're, like, just AI firewalls. Like, it kind of I think it might just be a bunch of firewalls that they've, like, I don't know, when you jack into this VR like feature, all these firewalls kind of protect data, and they're kind of like operated by the government, or they're also people because it is VR. I don't know. That took me a long time to, like, wrap my head around. But I guess that's, like, very similar to, oh gosh, I didn't even, like, see that. You can't see it, but, let me just fix that really quick so that you can see it. Anyway, how are you guys? I hope that you've been well. It's taken me forever to get this done. I was gonna stream like 2 weeks ago. Oh, there we go. We're just glitching everywhere. As part of this topic is glitch core, so here we go. Okay, sentinels. Cool. Thanks for the like and subscribe comment. I appreciate it. Okay, so in the next page you will see, but I just did want to make sure that like I've got this right, because otherwise it's going to be really annoying in the future if I don't. Okay, there we go. Okay, so next, is that really it? Yeah, okay. So, unreliable narrators is such a clutch way to tell your story, and the Neuromancer does it perfectly because it gives you every which way. Like, you're getting dream sequences, you're getting hallucinations, you're getting paranoia is a huge one, or like suddenly he starts thinking like so-and-so's an agent or something like that. So these are all ways to distort reality. VR sequences, kind of just like falling asleep and waking up other places. Every which way you can distort a story, they've done it. So you can pull inspiration from that. Interface looks cool. The way they plug in, you mean? Dream sequences in the Matrix, there are quite a few, but that one is the actual deja vu glitch. The wardrobe is just insane how like similar it was. Obviously, Molly to a T has been copied for Trinity with the leather. And then, oh sorry, one last thing is dub music is part of it. It's like very central. They will explicitly talk about like the exact type of music, and techno is the major music theme through the Matrix. Okay, so Case is exactly Neo, and I'd say again, Case is cooler. Case is more awesome. Case has more of a backstory, and it feels like you're kind of just thrown into Neo quite without much to know about him. So Molly and Trinity again, and then Armitage is the main character in the Neuromancer. He's quite prevalent, but he is kind of like a puppet in a way because he's being controlled by the sorry, there's spoilers. Spoilers, I forgot to say. Spoilers is that, yeah, also so Cypher is obviously not a good person. He's you're introduced as if he is in the beginning, but then he shows his true self and is a traitor. So Armitage is a traitor, but for the most of the book you think that he is cool. So I don't think Neo was that unreliable of a narrator. He just didn't have a lot of information in the beginning of the movie. Exactly, like I just went back and watched it, and the Matrix starts with Trinity, and then it cuts right to Neo, and it's him in his bedroom, and it's that scene with the computer where it says "Wake up, Neo." That's kind of like where you're introduced to him. You don't get this like where was he for the last, like what's his hacking career, like what happened in the last 5 years, like. Whereas Case, you understand, like, when he was 18, he was the best cowboy of his time, and then he, stole, well, we're gonna get, so basically, like, you get more information about Case, whereas Neo is kind of just like, whoa, you're thrown into right then and right there. Henry 34, Neo and Jesus. Case's first name is Henry? I had no idea. No way, are you telling me? Wait, is this in, which... Let me get the calculator up, because that'll be interesting. I was like, wait, really? Is it in Ordinal? Wait. Okay, so I'm looking here. Where are we getting the 34? Oh, right, not case. Okay, so you're saying you see the 34 here. Okay, that's sick. Yeah, good. Oh my god, my name is 70. I mean, my first name equals 70, so that's interesting. Okay, if you have more decodes, let me know, because I actually haven't had time. So I might, at the end of this, I might do a little like live decode, because I'm actually really interested. There's some names here that I'm also like, Dixie Flatline, very central to the story too, but it took me ages to understand, because again, this is the ROM construct. This is like that uploaded consciousness, but he's basically one of the best cowboys of all time, and so they basically go to him to like understand more, kind of like a Morpheus character. So even though Morpheus is like more of a actual person, they kind of act the same way, like telling trade secrets, being just like the information source about everything kind of guy. Malcolm is awesome, and you could totally see how Tank was directly copied off of Malcolm, because even Zion was copied off of. So Neuromancer just had it all first, man. Just like hello to everything first. Let's keep going. Okay, the sprawl in megacities is pretty obvious, obviously, like the feature of just smart cities. The construct was another thing that they stole. Again, I always thought that was genius. I was like, what? That was so cool. But yeah, again, it was in the book first. Cyberspace was a term that William Gibson actually coined. So that's awesome. I actually have it in here somewhere. I put that the page where he coins it. If I can, oh, here it is. So, oh gosh. Okay, I'll read it to you because I feel like that way you get like the direct quote. So, the Matrix has its roots in primitive arcade games, in early graphics programs and military experimentation with cranial jacks. And then it goes to the word cyberspace. A consensual hallucination experience daily by billions of legitimate operators in every nation. Graphic representation of data abstracted from the banks of every computer in the human system. Unthinkable complexity. Lines of light ranged in the non-space of the mind, clusters and constellations of data, like city lights receding. It's gorgeous language, honestly. Zion, like we said, Zion, I think I put it here too. Going to Zion. So Zion is also called Freeside. And it's kind of like inspired by Babylon. And yeah, it's very much so like Rastafarian. And they are like Jamaican. I'm not entirely sure what like where it is either, because it's like meant to be in 0G, so I think 0G means like no gravity. So I don't know exactly where it's meant to be. It's literally like Zion in the Matrix. Like they go to this like weird place, like they have to take a ship to this place. Yeah, Zion's like trippy, definitely. Okay, so we're getting it says we're getting this taxi out to Zion cluster. So maybe it's kind of like a spaceship that they have to use. Maybe it is a star system. I'm not sure. Someone's have to, but yeah. Dreads, Rastas, colony is about 30 years old now. Zion had been founded by 5 workers who'd refused to return. Zion's makeshift hole. Remanded case of Istanbul. Their regular discolored plates, laser scrawled with Rastafarian symbols. So Zion was like, yeah. Oh yeah, in partial gravity. I don't know. So we'll look at that more in the future. And the free side it could also be like the Nebuchadnezzar, the ship. 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 is an interesting like palace that they go to, and it's kind of like bougie and kind of like Club Hell in the Matrix. Yeah, his full name is Henry. Cool. So again, 𝓬𝓪𝓵 is the AI, and Neuromancer is the other AI, and I didn't know how to picture them either, so they're not entirely accurate. Just fixing that. Okay, they're not entirely accurate. These paintings, or these, because I made them on Midjourney, I mean, and so I don't actually know. In fact, Neuromancer is depicted as a child, so I didn't want to like interpret it that way, so I was like, just two guys, but I don't exactly know. 𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓻𝓸, they're like the really rich people who created the AI, so not exactly the same equivalent in Matrix, but I guess you could say like the analyst or the Merovingian. Persephone is inspired by 𝓰𝓮𝓮. 𝓰𝓮𝓮 is another heiress of the empire, and yeah, this is the 𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓻𝓸 empire, and they created AI, the sentient AI. So in that way, it is like the Deus Ex Machina at the end of the Matrix, which is kind of like this, the sentient AI creator. I don't know. That's the best interpretation. Okay, so how did William Gibson predict the future? Because again, this book is from 1984. There's several ways that he has, and what is that? Oh, there we go. So obviously the first one again is Cyberspace. Coined it. You can look it up online. Google will say that he coined it. Then AI would be the next one, because I don't think there were many books that had talks about AI previous to this. VR, of course, VR is already here. It's not as prevalent as it is in this book, obviously, but it seems like we're definitely getting there. And VR implants, another thing, cranial implants to be exact, another thing that the book predicted that is happening right now with Neuralink. And holograms. Holograms, I'm not exactly sure how to picture them either. They might be like the Star Wars holograms, where they're like people. They might be more like billboard holograms. I'm not exactly sure how to picture the holograms in this book. Again, we need a movie. But they're very prevalent, especially when he's rocking around the city. He talks about it. And cryogenics, I believe like when I was Googling this, I saw that a news article that they had tried the first cryogenic lab for humans. So I think we're already there too, although obviously not to the degree as in the book. Okay, another major theme that we're borderline there now is cash is legal. That was oh gosh, it's such a good line too. He basically like says he watched the new yen disappear. But yeah, cash is illegal, except in maybe in the black market, which there is a dark web in Neuromancer. And I don't think he predicted crypto per se, but there's something about like the way the monetary transactions that he was describing, and like the encryption and the ice, that's kind of similar to blockchain or something. I don't know. Smart cities, yeah, very much so. Like he talks about, I think one thing that he said was like it's like, oh, they're very like just like cubicle size like apartments basically. So that kind of like that dystopian. They do mention a pandemic, which is mad. Obviously, it's not exactly like there's not much detail about what kind of pandemic, but he did import it. And then filtration mass, another thing that is, you know, borderline happening through the pandemic, but also possibly in the future while they'll implement it for some sort of pollution situation. And I don't know if I got this right. There was a Mercedes scene that seemed like it was self-driving, but I'm not 100% sure, so somebody might have to fact check that. But okay, one thing that that I love, and I think that I want to impart on you, if you're a writer, creator that's drawing inspiration, and you don't know about fair use, take this book into consideration. What they do so well, what William Gibson does so well, is include just a bunch of references to real brands. And it made me think like, oh, so fair use is actually like a thing. Like, you can get away with using brands that we know today if you do it respectfully. So let's see how he did it. So for example, Qingdao and Carlsberg, these two are obviously real brands. All of these are real brands here on this sheet, so you'll recognize them. He may have just distorted it a little bit. So like yen exists, but he calls it New Yen. Hilton Hotel, but he does it like Hilton Hotel in a made-up city in Japan. And then Mitsubishi Bing Chip, that doesn't exist, but the brand does. Intercontinental Hotel, another one. Mercedes, he makes up like the model. Another Citroen he uses again. Sony monitors, Braun coffee maker. Sorry, some of these images are gone for some reason. I did finish it, but then that's another glitch. Porsche sunglasses, and like a Burberry coat. So I always thought like, oh, do you have to pay fees to these companies for using the brands? No, you don't. Specifically, at least in books, you don't, as long as you don't like imply that they're sponsoring your book, whatever. So go ahead and use it because it's entertaining. So again, the flip side would be completely making up things, and one of the things that he really made up that works so well is the sense net. And selfishly, I like it because it has the word net in it. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. And it's obviously not cool because it's a corporation that's like VR dystopia. They basically are like a Neuralink corporation, but I like the name. Chiba City is the name of the Japanese city that he makes up. Mass Biolabs, they're kind of like organ donors, cybernetic part dealers. Hosaka Cyberdex, he made up the brand Hosaka. It just sounds cool. And Quang Grade Mark 11 is a type of a computer virus that he makes up. That sounds coded. I should probably put that in the calculator. Blue 9 is a type of like a substance that lets you hallucinate or something. I don't know, it's quite dangerous though, because a lot of people that take it don't come out very well, but I think throughout the series they keep taking it. So that's another thing that makes it unreliable narrators. They're constantly faded and they're constantly searching for the next batch. And Yehe Yuan is a fake company too. Is Johnny Mnemonic a Gibson story? Yes, yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, because it has Keanu Reeves as well in both movies, and that's why I think Keanu got both movies. Maybe he was already in like the William Gibson circle. So yeah, a lot of people know about that movie. Okay, so yeah, again, so basically product placement, fair use, in books at least. Reference brands in a non-defamatory way without their permission. You don't have to pay a fee for including Burberry coats or Porsche sunglasses in your book. And rebrand companies to fit a cyberpunk future. So you could do like, I don't know, like Yeezy Core 2077 or why can't I think of a single brand right now? That's a good thing. That means they're all wiped from my mind right now. Oh my gosh, why can't I think? Okay, Starbucks. You can do Starbucks. You can do Starbucks 5,550. Oh my god, you can do Starbucks 6,666 year AD. Again, as long as you're not making it out to be like anything wrong with any products or anything, so. So like, there's a lot of characters, drawings of Case online. These are the ones I pulled off Google Image, but I don't think that any of them do them justice. This is the guy who's playing him in a rumored TV show, but I don't know if it ever actually got launched. Yeah, none of them do the Case to justice. So I'm actually really glad that I spent all this time working on Case on Midjourney, because I think it came out really well. And it actually gives him, like, the glow up that he deserves, because he's not had a cinema debut. So I'm like, Midjourney, just like Unreal Engine, 8K resolution, neon glow, matrix code rain, cybernetic implants, glowing VR eyes. Just I needed it all to just look insane, and here we are. So hey Gigi, nice to see ya. Thanks for stopping by. So Case is just so fun, and I feel like I could make infinite amount of images of him. But basically, yeah, the VR cowboy backstory where he's 22, he steals from his employers, and because he gets caught stealing, they like basically they serve him like some sort of neurotoxin, so it damages his ability to plug into VR. So he becomes quite depressed off of this. And let me just see if I have that part where he, yeah, okay, so the green goes, that's this green sticky note, but so it says he'd made the classic mistake, the one he'd sworn he'd never make. He stole from his employers. He kept something for himself and tried to move it through a fence in Amsterdam. He still wasn't sure how he'd been discovered, not that it mattered. He'd expected to die, but then only smiled, of course. He was welcome. They told him welcome to the money, and he was going to need it because, still smiling, they were going to make sure he never worked again. They damaged his nervous system with a wartime Russian mycotoxin. Strapped to a Memphis hotel bed, his talent burning out micron by micron. He hallucinated for 30 hours. The damage was minute, subtle, yet utterly effective. For Case, who'd lived for the bodiless exaltation of cyberspace, it was the fall. In the bars he'd frequently go to as a cowboy hotshot, the elite stance involved a certain relaxed contempt for the flesh, and the body was meat. Case fell into the prison of his own flesh. His total assets were quickly converted to new yen, a fat sheaf of the old paper currency that circulated through the closed circuit of the world's black markets like the seashells of islanders. It was difficult to transact legitimate business with cash. In Japan, it was already illegal. So he's basically looking for a cure, and this is why he ends up in Japan. Oh, thanks for sharing this. Oh, cheers! I'm glad that you find it interesting. Okay, so Case ends up in Chiba, Japan, because he's looking for the surgery, and obviously, like, Japan or that whole area, I'm not exactly sure what the future, like, layout is. I don't know if it's, like, still Japan or if it's become, like, a conglomerate of nations. but it does feel like that's where like most of the surgeries, that's why people go there for like the cybernetic parts. So he's, yeah, were you okay? So you get that area of like, oh my god, he was this cowboy hotshot. He got to like, risky, gets caught stealing. So now where is he? Now he's basically trying to get that surgery to repair it, but in the meantime he's hallucinating. He's hustling for money in the dark web, in the dark city alleys, and he's in debt. And I love like the core of like the Neo Japan. It's so cool. This subject matter is endlessly fascinating. Yeah, because we're moving at light speed to this reality, isn't it true? It's so scary. Okay, Case is tripping, right? He's, again, on stuff. At some point, he's tripping with, like, an AI clone, but he doesn't know she's AI, so he, in his mind, he thinks she's like legit. So it's kind of like a born identity crisis where he thinks he doesn't really know who he's hanging out with or who, I don't know. Something is going on where he's tripping, right? And then so he gets interrupted by Molly, and Molly is of course this Trinity figure. And so this scene is basically transferred over into the Matrix, and I have a whole slide for it, but you'll remember. But the idea that Molly intervenes and drags Case out of his depression, misery, and it is like what happens in the Matrix, right? And I love how Midjourney like managed to get his neon like VR implants, because again we don't exactly know what they look like, and it kept guessing every time, but it's so cool. Chiba's very interesting. I love Japan. I've been once, but I haven't been to Tokyo, so that's definitely in the cards for the future. Okay, so this is the scene that we all know is how Neo gets introduced. And again, this is why we were complaining earlier that it doesn't really have that much context. Like, we don't really know where Neo was when he was younger. We're just like learning about him right now. And we don't get much time to learn about him either. The first thing that we learn is that he's already being contacted. And so, wake up Neo, iconic. That equals 666 in English Sumerian, which equals computer and humanity. Right, so in the next scene, wait, let me just show you, because like you guys know that I'm gonna type this in really quick while we wait for that to load. Sorry, I forgot how it is. But yeah, Harajuku. Harajuku is the real city that is in the book. But yeah, Japan on the bucket list. Heck yeah. Okay, so he gets contacted by people who are so at face value they're like other clients. They're clients of him who are asking for like, what is it, some sort of virus computer virus or something like that. They're paying him for it. But again, door 101, which is a simulation number. No, I didn't mean to. Well, I did because I was typing earlier. Sorry. Okay, so and then we get the follow the white rabbit reference where because he sees the white rabbit that he goes and follows them. And so after he follows them, because they're going to the party, right? So that's when he meets Molly. Oh gosh, I called her Molly. That's when he meets Trinity. So Trinity, it's the same story, right? Like basically it's not that like Neo has VR inputs and he has to go and like get them cleared, repaired or anything, but he is depressed. He is being contacted, and it is Trinity that pulls him out through this conversation right here that she's about to introduce herself. And so that's exactly the same thing as Case being contacted by Molly, if that makes sense. Sweet. So Trinity again is just, I spared you guys the cringe scene of her like in these scenes, because she is just very bland as a character. Again, Molly is just so much more expressive. Molly has all these skills and more, but she's still more like exciting as a character than Trinity. Chiba is 23. 23 is the 𝓀𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓪𝓽𝓸𝓻 code. Also a reference to the song White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. Oh! Did they use that song in the soundtrack? Skull and Bones. So Molly can also be like Aeon Flux. In fact, I feel like Molly is more like Aeon Flux than Trinity, because Molly even has like retractable blades, kind of like Wolverine. So I don't know. Aeon, I think her name is Aeon. She has some interesting skills that are part of her naturally, whereas Trinity's skills are basically just the way she fights and wields weapons. But okay, basically again, so Molly interferes. Molly recruits Case, basically is what's happening as he's having that hallucination. And Molly takes Case to the Chiba Japan Hilton Hotel, where she introduces him to Armitage. Again, it's kind of like a Cypher in the Matrix. And Armitage hires him as well on a cyber heist in exchange for this operation. So Case doesn't really know what he's getting himself into. But because this guy's offering him the ability to repair his VR system, he's like, okay. So yeah, he's recruited for corporate espionage. And Case then gets the operation in Japan to repair his VR trodes, and that restores his ability to jack into the Matrix. And here we go. So now they're in Bama, and that's like the Boston-Atlanta metropolitan axis. So I guess in the future, according to William Gibson, it's going to be some smart city situation where all Boston-Atlanta, I mean, that's mad. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Boston to Atlanta. Where's Atlanta, Georgia? I almost want to bring up a map really quick. I'm gonna do it, because I'm like, where is that? Like, I swear, I can understand where Boston is. Okay, so I've done it so that, oh my god. Oh my god. So that's pretty insane. So that whole thing area is what he's saying is gonna be like basically its own state. That's interesting. So yeah, that's Bama. So Bama is where he calls home. So I guess they come back home to the States. Boston is where I left. I've only been to Boston once. Let me think, why did I think of it? Because I'm from Maryland, so it's not far, but I thought it was kind of like it's a quite British area. It's like a British vibe to it. And this is where you get the rated R scenes, because this is where Molly and Case start to become love interests and so on. Then they get their equipment from, so this is like, now they're like going from recruiting like people to recruiting people. They get a guy who gives them new cowboy equipment, like the cyber deck. And again, this is in the Matrix, very similar how you get Cypher kind of introducing Neo to the cyber deck and jacking into the Matrix. So yeah, it's quite insane how, like you see, I hope you guys are getting the point if you haven't already, how back then, like when I first saw the Matrix, I was so blown away by like the themes, but now it honestly, now it just feels like a knockoff, because the Matrix didn't invent the Matrix. Neuromancer invented the Matrix, so now you don't have to feel threatened. That's the word. You don't have to feel threatened by the Matrix anymore. Just understand that it's already a carbon copy, and now you can feel happy. Steal the Matrix. Steal the cyberspace. Steal AI. Steal VR for your novels. Do it. Steal the smart city idea. Like, you can steal everything because everything is already recycled. And as long as you put your own twists on it, you're gonna get away with it. Molly and Case are then sent on a heist for 𝓬𝓮𝓵𝓻𝓸 for the ROM construct, because they need the ROM construct. Again, the ROM construct is the uploaded AI conscious, and they want it for to give them instructions. So they're basically kind of like stealing their Morpheus. I've seen Dark City. Yes, I have as well. Did you like it? So during the Sensenet heist, they gain the loot of the Dixie Flatline, who's the legendary council cowboy whose consciousness has been preserved. Kind of like Morpheus. And during the Sensenet heist is when they have that intrusive countermeasures electronics. They're like sentinels or Turing police. They start following in pursuit, very much like the Matrix as well. And this random character just randomly appears. So he's kind of like, his name is 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬, and he's like another hacker group. I don't know. Basically, they're paid to help with the exit plan through the Sensenet heist, and he's randomly gives him a message, and the message is 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬, and they're like, what the heck does that mean? Let me see if I have it here somewhere. I see the Sensenet robbery. I'm like, I can't find it right now. Oh, the second I closed it, I saw it. It's so annoying. I'm trying to show you because it's like the first time they hear of the AI. I'm like, this is important. I can also talk about the Dixie flatline really quick too. Just because the words are really good. Like, sorry. Okay, here it is. So here's the 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 part. I'm gonna read really quick. Oh my God, Vegan Skeptic! Hi, thanks so much for joining us. You're talking about Matrix stuff, my favorite. Hey, thanks for your time, honestly. Yeah, I've interviewed the Vegan Skeptic before. They authored a amazing ebook, and it's about the soul trap theory, which is so familiar to the Matrix, so heck yeah. 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 is here. So he just says at the end of this, message for you, Case. This is the message, 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬, he stepped it out. And Case says, from you, and 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 says for you, and then 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓬 repeated, bobbing his pink hair. And then so that's the first time they hear about 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬, and it's the AI. So Case and Molly then escape with the ROM construct. And let me talk about the Dixie flatline because they basically just got it. So the Dixie flatline is dead. You know the Dixie flatline's dead. Yes, I know. You'll be working with his construct. He taught you the ropes. So he's basically like one of the most... did they just stop talking about him all this like... Oh well. But yeah, you get the point. Totally my pleasure. Thanks for the shout out. Aw. Okay, so in the Matrix, it's very similar. Obviously, there's no SenseNet equivalent, but this idea of like breaking in and entering is what we're gonna see in the Matrix, and it's that iconic scene where he goes in to the building to rescue Morpheus, and they're kind of like infiltrating it. Everyone knows that part. Oh, oh my gosh, now I'm just like skipping everywhere. It's past midnight here too, so you can only really enjoy the Matrix past midnight. So yeah, everyone remembers the scene. I wanted to cut all the violent parts, but you get the point. They basically devastate the entire area to infiltrate it, and it's completely left in rubble. And that's exactly what happens in the book. And this scene is really sick. I mean, you get the extent of like the action and the infiltration and the exit plan. Very, very similar. Club Vessel is, again, very similar to Club Hell in the Matrix. They're constantly in bars, clubs, things like that. And so Club Vessel, they're basically trying to recruit, like if you've seen Ocean's 11, how they like go places to recruit people, that's basically what's happening. They go to try to recruit this guy because he has some sort of holographic illusion trick that they need later on. So that's where they meet him, Peter Rivera. And this is his illusion trick in the Club Vessel, again, Midjourney. And again, it's like the Matrix scene where they go into... Again, they infiltrate it too. To get more clues from the Merovingian and Persephone. And it's probably one of the best scenes in the Matrix. Clubhouse. It's giving Blade. Oh no, that's it. Okay. So Armitage finally explains who his boss is at this point, and then he goes and says it is an AI named Wintermute, which at this point they'd already heard the name, but they're like, okay, well, what is it? But they'd still, even at this meeting, they're not even gonna understand everything. But now he's telling the story. So now we're gonna go into like, kind of like the past and kind of see the story. So the Tessier-Ashpool family, they're a dynasty. So Armitage is explaining this, and he's telling Case and Molly. So this is kind of like him explaining it. But basically, this old man called Ashpool, he had basically kind of like the most richest man on Earth, and he marries into the most richest family as well. So they kind of do like a cross dynasty marriage. And they have differing views on AI that eventually extends itself. But Ashpool builds the 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓪𝓬𝓪, and I don't know how to picture it. It's very quirky. I think it's kind of like made out of VR glass, holographic, possibly floating in space. I don't know. It's a fortress, though, and they're eventually going to have to go into it. And then Marie-France is again this queen like goddess, rich, like whatever, like matriarch. She's obsessed with AI and immortality, possibly around the whole beauty idea, but she's like an expert coder as well, and she codes Wintermute AI. This is what you know at this point. She also codes another AI, but this is all you know at this point. And quite an interesting storyline there. I don't think The Matrix has pulled anything from this particular, like, they could have done more to get inspired by Tessier-Ashpool dynasty, but they didn't. I don't think it's been replicated just yet in any movie. So if you're inspired by this, you should make a movie or a book series inspired by this idea. So Wintermute, I don't know exactly how to picture it. But if it had an anthropomorphous, human-like appearance, it would be kind of like code. It can shapeshift, obviously. And the problem with, like, what happened is she locked it in so that it wouldn't take over. But I don't know if she did it on purpose. I think, spoiler alert, I think she did do it on purpose. But anyway, it sets as certain, like, a set of events. It's kind of like a labyrinth that... She basically like creates this labyrinth for Wintermute to become more sentient. And so part of that is first he's locked in the 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓪𝓬, but he has some sort of influence on the world, and so that's why he can contact people and recruit them. So he actually hires, so the AI hires Armitage. It's getting complicated. And there's this Iris who's the daughter of this dynasty, and she is a clone, and he explains that she will be important later on. So that's kind of like the developing story. So Armitage then sends them to Istanbul, and yeah, part of like the cool part about this book series is that you're getting Japan, you're getting Bama, you're getting Istanbul, and there you are, 3 parts of the world. So it's quite fascinating. And all of this is in the future. Again, they're there to see an arms weapons dealer. Molly gets a new pistol, and Case gets 𝓬𝓫𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓬 whole martial arts aspect is also pulled from the book. Case is instructed to ask this Dixie flatline for clues, again, the Morpheus-like AI realm construct that they took from SenseNet. And Molly suggests Case try to reach out to AI Wintermute, so that kind of gets him thinking about contacting Wintermute for more answers, because now it's a developing storyline. By the way, this is really complicated. Again, I might be getting stuff wrong, so. We live in a matrix and not in a matrix. Wow, Istanbul 2, that's where I was born. Oh, that's awesome. Hell yeah. Honestly, it's very descriptive. You should take a look at that chapter because it talks about like what it might look like in the future. Yeah. Take a look at it. Molly then takes them on a trip to Freeside. Now this is where they go to Zion. And so in another place, and again, Zion, I don't know where it is. I think it's in outer space. Armitage sends them to find more recruits. And this is where they like are in zero gravity for 80 hours. They literally train and I don't know, like fight each other to like practice. And this is where they meet Malcolm and Errol, and they're in Zion. I don't know if they're brothers. I forget. But they're gonna accompany the crew from now on. And you also get to meet the founders of Zion, which are the only two remaining. And they reveal that they were also contacted by Wintermute AI, and they were asked to help Molly in case to serve them in the final days. So as you can see, like, all these people are being contacted. And this is exactly like The Matrix. Like, I always thought Zion felt kind of contrived when I was watching The Matrix. It felt like it was a bit of a random rogue choice. But now I get why they chose it, because it's not rogue or random. It literally is Zion. It's word for word taken from this book. So they basically, again, just a complete knockoff of a storyline that completely just contrived to clone and copy this book. So if you also felt that this kind of scene was total segue or just a bit forced, that's why. They definitely did force it to, you know, say that this is an homage. But, you know, they could have been more original. They could have come up with something else. It is a bit, feels like robbery because so many people watch The Matrix and they never heard about the inspiration. So I guess I feel like they could have been a bit more vocal about where they got all this source inspiration from. The writers of The Matrix do not have the best reputation for crediting their inspirations. And Zion lends them a pirated ship. They even name the ship Marcus Garvey, which I believe is like a Rastafarian prophet in their world. And that's exactly what happens, is that in The Matrix they get a pirated Nebuchadnezzar ship. So, again, just something that they completely ripped. You hated the name Zion. Again, it is lazy. It's a lazy ripoff. I don't know. I don't even really understand why the book went with that too. But anyway. So Case now like takes the bait on the idea of like going in and trying to ask and talk to Wintermute. So it jacks into Dixie Flatline again, starts asking about AI. He learns that Dixie Flatline basically flatlined himself by trying to hack into AI. So he's now kind of worried, like, oh my god, is something gonna happen to me? But Wintermute is basically a white cube, and I'm not even making that up. It actually says white cube. So let me pull it up. Because that's probably coded too. Because we all know, like, the black cube. Let me see really quick before I type it on. I'll just pull it up on my phone. Cyphers news calculator on my phone. So let me see what white cube equals. Freemason. 96 white cube Freemason. I don't know. Wow! Okay, wait. It's all 4 ciphers! So the white cube equals Freemason in all 4 ciphers. I don't know why exactly, like, that doesn't make complete sense logically. Like, white cube Freemason doesn't make sense. But it does in the same set. I guess, like, kind of has a Freemasonic appeal to it. I don't know. That's just a really quick search. There are many iterations of similar matrix concepts, going all the way back to Plato's cave, But considering the simulation aspect, I wouldn't be surprised if this story was explored 1,000 times more in different Matrix timelines and Matrix realms. 1,000%. Yeah, and like the Hindu, well, obviously, like, let me think. I feel like Hindu mythology predates Plato's. I think so. So yeah, even in Hindu or Dravidianism, there's the concept of the Maya, which is basically the matrix or the illusion, the field of the illusion. So yeah, totally. So let me just read this really quick. So it says, okay, so he's talking to Dixie Flatline. So he says, hey Dixie, you ever try to crack an AI? And he says, sure, I flatlined. And then he says, what did it look like, the visual? White cube. How'd you know it was an AI? And then Dixie says, how'd I know? Jesus, it was the densest ice I've ever seen. So what else is it? The military down there don't have anything like that. Anyway, I jacked out and told my computer to look it up. It was on the Turing Registry AI. The infinite neuroelectric void of the matrix. Trying to buzz, so Dixie got himself flatlined trying to buzz an AI. Great. Now, I don't know, so when he says densest ice, I don't know if that, like, I kind of imagine, like, ice being the intrusive counter-electronic measure, being the firewall that protects the AI. I don't know, something like that. And then, so beside it being an AI, it can be anthropomorphous, but basically he hacks into the AI, and as soon as he hacks into it, he starts to hallucinate yet again. And then this time it's kind of like being put in an MK Ultra dream sequence where you think that some person is in front of you, but it's actually like a fake ghost. So he again sees this 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓬 character, which is again some sort of VR clone. Kind of like keeps him in a trance kind of thing. And then as he's hacking, he hallucinates again. He's talking to Dixie Flatline. Dixie's telling him that AI has another half, like the left and right side of the brain, Oracle and Architect. So the dream sequence feels like real life, but it's not. Again, this is all like the AI 𝓬𝓪𝓵 is putting this virtual world in front of him. So the way he ends it is he takes a gun and he shoots the hologram, and that like kills the spell, or he wakes up. I was like on the edge of my seat because that was sick. I've never seen, like, I really hate violence and I really hate guns, but the idea of like him shooting a hologram is sick because nobody gets actually hurt. He's just shooting like a computer graphic, and that's freaking awesome. Like, I am so down for that type of like theatrics. I can get down with that because it's like not real blood, if that makes sense. So it's a sick scene. I think like it should be redone. Like, more people should take inspiration off that because that is so cool. So right after he hacks the AI, he basically gets caught by the Turing police, and I like how they play off that word because the Turing code is like the binary of ones and zeros, right? So he's basically saying like these VR policemen, they play good cop and bad cop. They ultimately charge him with conspiracy of attempt to augment the AI. But lucky enough for Case, as soon as he gets arrested, his mates, basically like Malcolm, the Cyanites, they kind of like hover the ship, and he jumps on, and they kill the Turing police, so he gets freed. But this is very similar to like Agent Smith detaining Neo and kind of playing good cop, bad cop with him, at least at first, in the beginning, before the like chase scenes. And then hacking into 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 is the ending like scene or action of the movie. So they're going to detonate the virus. They call it the Chinese Quang virus, and I feel like this is another thing that I have to type into the calculator, because it's interesting that they're using a Chinese virus, and it's obviously a computer virus. I think it's 𝓮 I forgot which one I put. 𝓮𝓵𝓬𝓮 virus. That equals the Bavarian Illuminati 188, but can I see anything else? Quang virus. 𝓮𝓵. Can anyone find like a good decode on this? Chinese virus. Computer virus. 𝓮𝓵 virus? I don't know. There's got to be some sort of decode on this. It's such a particular name that he went with. Anyway, this virus basically lets them hack into that really fortified mattress because it overrides all the security. And then this is where they finally meet 𝓲𝓻𝓵𝓬𝓛, who is that clone Iris, and she leads them through the labyrinth. Quite like Persephone in the Matrix ends up helping them out. But whilst that's happening, Case does get trapped in VR Beach. He does hallucinate with Linda again. At this point, he kind of wakes up out of it and realizes that Linda is just like a hologram of his imagination. And he meets the Neuromancer, which is the architect. Now, the architect is in the Matrix is an old man, but in the Neuromancer, he's a child. But I didn't want to like make the image of a child, so I kind of left it open to interpretation. But basically, 𝓲𝓻𝓵 has the final code that they need, and this allows them to merge 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬 and Neuromancer AI, because ultimately I think that's what the 𝓬𝓭 family wanted, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm not an expert on this. Hindu texts described the Maya illusion and samsara soul trap over 1,000 years before Plato's Cave. So ideas reality as deception is quite ancient indeed. Oh, thanks for all the source information. Exactly. I was like, it's definitely yeah, it's mad old. I don't know exactly like when the term matrix was being circulated in English, but yeah, it does seem kind of like a mathematical term, possibly like older than around the 1600s. But yeah. So the Oracle acts in a very similar way to 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬. It's a lot more emotional. And then the Architect acts similar to Neuromancer. That's all. That's kind of like... Also, it took me like 5 times to watch The Matrix to ever piece this together. Like, I had no clue that this is what the ending meant for like years. Every time I watched it, I was like, I have no clue what this ending... Like, what? But, okay, basically is what's happening is there's two sides of the brain, left brain and right brain. It's like sentience of this AI is balancing itself out. Because what was happening before is basically the architect was kind of getting too strict and too Saturnian and evil, and like the premise of the Matrix is that architect is basically keeping all these souls, even despite these souls wanting to leave. So at the end of the Matrix, he goes, just how long do you think this piece is going to last? And she says, as long as it can. So it is implying that there's some sort of balance that's occurring. And again, that's through these two, which is extremely similar to these two AI. So exactly the same storyline. They just changed what the Oracle and Architect look like to give it a sense of originality. Fundamentally, it is exactly the same storyline. So that's another huge clone rip. Okay, so what happens at the end? Spoiler alert is, well, you know, the end of Neuromancer, Molly and Case never see each other again. So it's quite sad. That's why this book is self-standing on its own, because it literally, that's how it ends. it says that they never meet again. Although there's the 3 other books to the series. So I think it's different characters. Yeah, because this one is about Mona Lisa Overdrive. This one is about Mona as a young girl with murky past. But it seems like it keeps the idea of like the sense net is still there. This one, Burning Chrome, I think, who's in this? Oh, what? Okay, Burning Chrome has Johnny Mnemonic on it. So then maybe Johnny Mnemonic apparently is Burning Chrome. I don't know if these are short stories. Okay, that's just short stories. But it does have that one in it. Count Zero. Who does it have? Count Zero is about a guy named Turner. Again, it does have Computer Cowboys, Mass Biolabs, Data Hustler, but it's not Case and not Molly. And then that's it. So yeah, this is the only Case and Molly book that I know of, at least when you buy the bundle. So it's one of a kind, and that's why that's the only one I read, because it's pertaining to the Matrix. So yeah, it's kind of sad. It's a standalone book. You don't get like the whole trilogy aspect. But they basically put the Matrix trilogy is just the Neuromancer. Like, so one book turned out to be a trilogy movie series. So that's they extended it quite well. And it's just so packed. Like the language is so rich that he can pull scenes and scenes out of just paragraphs. So let's talk about the movies that A, inspired the Neuromancer, and B, then were inspired by the Neuromancer, because you guys will know a lot of these. Architect Antivirus, does that match on the calculator? Or is it just the concepts that are matching? It doesn't match on the base 4. Have I ever heard of the game System Shock? It's basically about a hacker who gets forced by a corporation to deal with AI on a spaceship that goes haywire. I haven't heard of that. I'll look it up. Thank you. I was gonna ask, like, there's gotta be more games that were inspired by this, but I actually didn't have time to look into the games. Okay, so Blade Runner came out in 1982. And so did Walt Disney's Tron. Now, I don't know if either any of you guys went to see these in the movies or theater or not. But again, these are before the Neuromancer. So I'm assuming that William Gibson did go see these movies. And so in 1982, and then 2 years go by, and then he writes this book. So, or maybe he was writing the book while these movies came out. I'm assuming that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I haven't seen Tron, but I have seen Blade Runner. It's really good. And I don't actually know if that's from the 1980s. They've redone the movie a few times, so I don't know if that's the exact scene from the 80s, but this definitely is from the 80s. And they have redone Tron, as you guys are aware. So then Neuromancer comes out, and you do get this VR deck. This is about as graphic as we'll get. They don't have a comic book as far as I'm aware. Okay, I had no idea that there was a Cyberpunk board game in the 80s. That is so cool. Like, did people actually play this? Like, was it actually that common? What was it about? Because I knew that Cyberpunk was old, but I didn't know it was a board game. So that shocks me. But yeah, I haven't played the game either. I don't own any gaming consoles, so it's a problem. But also, I'm just not really a gamer. I did put a trailer or something and it's not loading this part, so Keanu Reeves in the trailer. Okay, Aeon Flux, again, very much inspired by Molly. Like the short black hair for one, the superpowers, and the future dystopia, of course, as well. They live in, so Aeon Flux is about a civilization where they basically, it is kind of have this sense net feel to it, because like there's this orbiting like globe thing that basically it's like this data hub that does control like the entire city, and as soon as they knock that thing out of the sky, it like renders a lot of the technology like useless. So it does kind of have that like the sense net feel to it as well. Tron 2 is better. There's a current version of Cyberpunk tabletop. It's worth getting a console and I'll love it. Really? Are you serious? I like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Well, one thing I did hear about Cyberpunk is that you can customize a character, right? Really well. So I do love me a good customization screen. I might try it. So is it like, what console is it? Buffy the Vampire Slayer the bestest. I don't remember Buffy. I kind of do, but I can kind of see their faces, but I don't remember like the plot. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is the new box set. But what's like the point of it? Like, how do you play? What's the goal of Cyberpunk? Let me just go back really quick and look at the box really quick, because I think there's like people on it. My Wi-Fi is going really slow apparently. Okay, there's like little people that you move on the board game. So I'm imagining it kind of like life. It's a role-playing game. Oh, like Dungeons and Dragons. Like you become a character and you basically level up and do the kind of like quests and stuff. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I still really want to play it. Alright, so then we get Johnny Mnemonic, which I just found out is in the book series as the Burning Chrome. Let me read Johnny Mnemonic really quick. I'll just read really quick. Okay. Starting off really strong. I put the shotgun in an Adidas bag. I just love how he keeps going with it. That's why I put in the gif from Wayne's World. He's like, I will not bow down to any sponsor, because William Gibson is like totally trolling when he puts all these brands in. No one talks about Cyberpunk anymore on like the board game. I should buy it. I will buy it and I will play with you guys. It's a role-playing game where you make a character that lives in the year 2077. Your job is a mercenary kind of character, but the story hits one of the few games that made me cry at the end. Oh gosh, you could consider things like Metropolis 1927. Wow, that's one of the first movies we watched in film school. The Twilight Zone, 1959, World on a Wire, 1973, and Westworld, 1973, all played with reality control as well. Great options. Then there's Simulacron, 1964, Ubik, 69, full-on simulation theories. Even Blade Runner, 82 came from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Oh, heck yeah. You are in our Cyberpunk RPG group now. You guys have a group for this? I'm not a dork enough for D&D, but y'all have fun. I've been to a friend's house where they showed me their D&D table. I still didn't get it. They're all like putting out their dice for me. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand like why this is a thing, but okay. No, but honestly, I love games, so yeah, I will try. I feel like there might be like an online one too. Cyberpunk has been evolving for decades and love these TV shows most, but don't want to live in a cyberpunk future after all. I don't get the theme of Cyberpunk yet. Is it too like, you guys mercenary? So is it like GTA basically? You're basically kind of like in the GTA situation. Okay. I put the shotgun in the Adidas bag, patted out, not my style at all. That was what I was aiming for, blah blah. The meet was set for the drome at 2-300. I checked myself out in the chrome siding of a coffee kiosk. The drome is a single narrow space with a bar down on one side. Oh, names Millions? Molly Millions? Oh my god, is she back? Wait, Molly Millions is in 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓸𝓻? What? Okay. I saw for the first time her mirrored lenses. What? Now I have to watch it again. And oh my god. So Molly does have another storyline in 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓸𝓻, but Case is not in here, so. And I don't know if Molly ends up being in the 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓸𝓻 movie. But anyway, so we get 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓻 and Matrix, both from William Gibson's stories, both featuring Keanu Reeves. And you'll remember them because 𝓲𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓻's got the VR his headset going on. He's like a hacker as well. And then, of course, the Matrix, where he is breaking free from the VR AI dystopia. Oh gosh. I swear I put something here. It's just not loading. Okay, well, next we have the movie Hackers. And this here I watched recently. I think it's from 1995 or something. And Ocean's 11 as well. Again, that whole idea of like they're recruiting talented people is just like literally like Ocean's 11. But not exactly like GTA. Cyberpunk is more about dystopian features, AI, and hacking. Think Blade Runner, The Matrix, where underground hackers fighting oppressive megacorps. Okay. They're trying to adapt Neuromancer into film. I heard that they're trying to do it as like you know how like they all have these TV shows now, kind of like Netflix or Amazon. I like maybe not like for the mega screen, but I heard they were gonna do it. But let me Google it really quick. Neuromancer series film news. Yeah, okay, so like Apple TV is allegedly making it. It's gonna be a so like a TV show. Basically a TV show on Apple TV. And it says it's gonna be this year? Get out. Oh, but they're not gonna do it justice. Like, I already know. Like, I feel like Midjourney did it 1,000 better than they're gonna do with Apple TV. Because I already know they're not even gonna do the cybernetics well. Who is going to be... Oh, the girl from... do you guys remember the girl from 𝓤𝓼? Or she's like the blonde this blonde girl. Oh my god. Wait, they are. Wait, okay, do you see that? That's allegedly the movie poster. So let me look it up really quick. I'm gonna put this on mute. Okay, so this is who I was talking about. If you remember her from 𝓤𝓼, she's, oh my god, I don't know who she's allegedly supposed to be because there's not really a blonde. Is Case Turner? Is that his last name? Okay, so maybe Turner is in Count Zero. So who is this blonde? Who is she gonna be? Posey is set to do who? Oh my god, sometimes like these ideas, but what I was freaking out about is like this. That actually made a really good, like that's actually really good. So who is this guy though? Who is playing him? Is it him? Who is that? 𝓬𝓪𝓵𝓬𝓪? I don't know who that is. He kind of looks familiar. Sorry, no, 𝓬𝓪. Okay, I don't know who Molly is gonna be, but yeah, he's not really like I don't see it as a character, but as an actor for case. Oh well. We'll see. I mean, who knows? We'll give it a chance, at least. Oh my god, I wonder if it's because I need to refresh it. I'm gonna present it again really quick. My god. Okay, this is not working out. I can't figure it out. But we were all the way somewhere over here. Okay. So next we have the island in Judge Dredd. I really, really want to present this again, so let me try. It gets so confusing, I swear. Oh, there we go. Okay, got it. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so then we have the island, I think is one of the best interpretations of clones. And Judge Dredd is the dystopian police. But yeah, she's like a kind of like the 𝓲𝓻𝓮𝓵. Cyberpunk made me think of purple hair and leather. They usually have gender issues and weirdness. I say screw Apple and let's just write our own adaptation. Exactly, like we'll just use these Mid-Journey photos. I think there's a way I could try to make them videos. Dystopian cyber police. Okay. Enter the Void, one of my favorite movies and kind of an inspiration for this channel name. And have you guys seen it? Because it's one of those that's a bit, what do you call it? I'd say it's a bit obscure. And then Inception with like the dream sequences. But Enter the Void is really good, unreliable narrator, hallucinations movie. And of course Limitless, because the substance he takes is very similar to like the blue 9 that is in this book that they're constantly taking. So yeah, I'd say it's inspired by this book as well. Cloud Atlas, of course. Why? Because of like Neo Japan cloning. They did a really good job of Neo Japan. I mean, if we can get this in Neuromancer, that's great. Well, of course, this is like the same directors as The Matrix. These are the Wachowskis. They made Cloud Atlas as well, so obviously it's going to be just as good. But I doubt that this Apple TV is gonna make Neo Japan look that awesome. Okay, Lucy, Sword Art Online is that anime about VR headsets, and the creepy thing about this is because that VR headset, if you die in VR, can actually kill you. I think like just a few years ago they announced that they actually made that VR headset in real life, where like if you're playing, you can actually die if you die in the VR game. I do not know why they would even make that like in real life, but it's apparent like how much of the feature is becoming real about this VR reality and like cybernetic implants. And Lucy as well with the futuristic substances and these sequences. Ready Player One, of course, massive parallels. Again, this book coining the term cyberspace and up until, and like jacking in VR up until we get like the next major VR movie in 2018. And this one's done well. I think there's a lot of cringe things about it. I didn't like his love interest, especially the VR. The VR parts with his love interest were very cringe to me. But other than that, I could really appreciate the whole aspect of like the dystopian feature. In fact, I kind of want to watch it right now. Okay, now we come to the end of the presentation. So basically, I wanted to rip ideas off of this. You guys know I'm writing my own series. It's called the Mortal series. I'm still hoping that I can take that name. I know I might be up against some legal battles, but I'm trying to get the Mortal series as my like staple series. And then I only say like legal battles because obviously there's like Mortal Kombat, and a lot of people when you say Mortal series, they're always gonna think of Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I think there's room for a Mortal series regardless. Like I don't think Mortal Kombat can fight back if my series just uses Mortal but in a different way, if that makes sense. So, and I love Mortal Kombat. They're from Chicago, so I have nothing against them. It's just I really love the word mortal, and I really hope that I can get away with it. But okay, my series, I am also using this template because it works so well for The Matrix. It's worked so well for countless of other films. Obviously, Neuromancer created the best archetypes for superheroes, so I'm gonna pull them too. So Case and Molly, incredible, like just amazing. They're both so independent but both so attracted to each other and just so natural with each other. I think they're not controlling of each other. Like it's such a good relationship where it's funny and fun and they're both awesome and at the peak of their careers. They're like a power couple, and I find that like to be so rare these days. Like they've not like these couples that are just like tag teaming. So I'm gonna bring it back. We're gonna have Lilith and Samael as the main characters for my storyline. Why? Because I started resonating with Lilith for a while. I have a whole Lilith video on my platform, but I didn't understand the levels to it until I kind of read this book and I realized, oh my god, like the idea of a power couple. And so I was like, okay, well, who's Lilith's half? And then it's Samael, and I'm like, oh my god, that's perfect. They're literally like Case and Molly because Lilith and Samael are both independent. They don't submit to each other. They're like but at the same time they're like each other's equals, and it's like they both kind of have this sassiness and like aggressiveness, and I don't know, I was like perfect. So AI and XR I think is just like the future, but for my novels, like I'm taking a Lord of the Rings approach where I'm kind of going like, god, I wish I had the books with me. They're over there, but taking like the Silmarillion route. So Silmarillion kind of like then leading on to like the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings. But in the Silmarillion, you get the Pantheon. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to do a Pantheon vid, and then you're going to get the history, and towards the end of the book is the future. So my last book in my series is going to have AI and XR. It's just going to be a long build-up from, like, you're going to go from heaven to, like, it's also kind of, like, inspired by Dante's Inferno. So you get the gods in heaven up to the creation of the world, the demiurge, the simulation, and then into the creation of Eden, and from Eden to Atlantis, from Atlantis to the ancient civilizations, from ancient to archaic, pre-modern, modern, and then future. So my final book is going to be the most inspired by the Neuromancer. And instead of the sprawl and Bama and Chigozie, it's really going to be a one world. I don't think it's been done before to this degree. Like, the Matrix is kind of one worldy, but I don't know, they didn't really, like, focus any cameras outside of the US to really, like, paint the whole one world picture. And then one of the major things I'm taking is obviously the unreliable narrator aspect, dreams, hallucination, glitches, hackers, of course. This character Malcolm, that's persistent, tank being copied. I'm also going to include some sort of Malcolm/tank reference, I feel like. So that's it for the series. I thank you guys so much for, like, hanging in there. It's been so fun to, like, wait, I'm just going to go all the way to the start. It's been fun to make this because I hope it's going to be helpful for other people, but also just, like, the visuals that are so beautiful once they've been kind of made by Midjourney, that I'm really happy with the way it all turned out. Anyway, thanks so much again for hanging out. That's it for now. So, No VR Will Kill You. Gaspar Noé definitely inspired me to go to film school. His other movies are well known. I agree, yeah. Oh my god, you went to film school. Sigel Siegel. No way. So, yeah, I've also went to film school. This is why my channel is all about film adaptations. I haven't seen that since, like, 2009. You took me back. Thank you. I'm glad that we can do this. You should go live more often. Cheers. I really appreciate that because I am always, like, so torn. Okay, so, like, I'm basically finishing these books. Okay, at the end of every series, I do, like, give a cliffhanger of what I'm gonna do next. So now that I've put this behind me and I can put these away, let me come back because I am coming back with what's next in my book club. One sec. Okay, I didn't get all of them because there's too many, but no, I mean, I have all of them, but I didn't bring them over. I did get all of them. I got the whole series. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them, something. It's kind of obnoxious. Subscribe. Thank you. Thanks so much for subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. What, I mean, how can I play... How can I play the Cyberpunk game? Are you joking or is that real? Because I would love to if I can. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna read. But I'm like dreading this because I do not know. It's impossible. I gave myself really realistically half a month. Okay, I don't know where the original Game of Thrones is, but I have, this is like chapter 2. George Martin is really unhinged in my opinion, because the way these are all like named is really strange to me. I think there's also part 1s and 2s. Like, these books are just massive. I don't know how I'm gonna read these all. It's impossible. I can't. I'm gonna skim them. I'm gonna skim the Game of Thrones. I don't think I'll like them. My idea is like, I really liked the Neuromancer. I really loved Lord of the Rings. I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I have a sneaky suspicion that I'm actually gonna really hate Game of Thrones. So let me just like really, yeah, it's not looking good for me, but I'm still gonna go through them. We're gonna talk about them. So that's next on my stream. But besides the next book club, I am also writing my own book series. I've started like with this, this book. I've got like, oh my god, that is so funny. It's because my notes are green. So I'm kind of doing sticky notes. Oh god, I'm like so bad with ideas. So I'll put them on sticky notes. Try to put them in order, but I'm also writing. So I've written every day so for a while now. Half of this I've only started like a week or so ago. This is just free writing. This is literally just scribbling. At the back of it, I have character sheets. I have a lot. So I think what I'm going to start doing is not only stream like once a month with this major book review that I've been doing. So the next major stream will be like Game of Thrones. However, I think what I'll do in between is I'm going to try to get in streams where I'm just writing or I'm just building my characters and stuff, so you can tag along and see what I'm building. Because the last thing I want to do is make something that's self-absorbed. Like, I really want it to be some sort of like mystical book, Necronomicon. I want it to be like that, where it feels like you're picking up a fiction novel, but you're also getting it as a cypherpunk and as a cryptographer, so you can use it to decode it, and the decodes are meaningful worldwide and not just like a personal cryptogram kind of thing. So hopefully that as I workshop it with you guys, we can really amplify it so that make movies out of it, basically hope to get Cyphers more mainstream through art, because I feel like not a lot of authors do it. Although I haven't decoded Neuromancer enough. I feel like there was a lot missing there. I still don't know what the Quang virus thing is about, but anyway, that's it for now. Let me just read the last few comments and then yeah. Oh, Sports Gematria, hi. Thanks for catching the stream. That's the show writer's fault. They rushed the ending for their new Star Wars project and got canned. George Martian, lol. Have fun, read. There's no ending though. House of the Dragon is dope, but nothing like the Game of Thrones political drama attention to there. Oh god, I can't wait for that stream. It's gonna be unhinged. Anyway, thanks again, Vegan Skeptic, Gigi, Spirit, Pinkies, Drake, Sigel, and Sports Gematria. Don't leave us. I wish I could hang out. Oh my god, I found a new X-Men. I need to do another X-Men stream, because the X-Men fans know what's up. Basically, I found an X-Men that I really like, so I will do that too. I will do a little X-Men follow-up. Anyway, that's it for now, y'all. Thanks so much. Have a great night. It's about like 1:55 a.m. Cyphers news equals 1:55. Alright guys, have a good night and thanks so much for joining me.